Alex stared at his hollow screen, scrolling through the latest profiles on the interstellar dating app. He had been single for a while, stuck in the monotony of human life, yet still curious about the possibilities that lay beyond Earth. The app wasn't just any dating service, it promised matches not only across human cities but across nearby habitable colonies and even alien civilizations. Alex had never been particularly adventurous, but something inside him urged him to keep swiping, to see who or what was out there. After a few minutes, most profiles blurred together. Humans with robotic enhancements, avatars of people he had seen on billboards or holo ads, and the occasional exotic-looking humanoid who could have been from a far-off colony. Then, a new profile appeared. Definitely an alien. The name made him chuckle. The profile picture showed a being with shimmering, translucent skin that reflected colors Alex had never seen. A tall and elegant frame, and eyes that seemed too intelligent for a simple selfie. The bio read, "Explorer. Loves good conversation and strange food. May abduct you for coffee. Swipe right, if you dare." Alex laughed, shaking his head. He had read plenty of alien profiles before. Some were jokes, some were serious, but this one felt different. There was a spark of something intriguing in those words. Without thinking too much, he swiped right. Almost immediately, a notification appeared. "It's a match." Alex blinked, heart skipping a beat. He tapped the chat icon, and a message popped up from the alien herself. "Hi, Alex. I knew you'd be brave enough to swipe right." Alex hesitated for a moment, then typed back, "Hi. Definitely brave. Or maybe just foolish." Her response came instantly, with a little emoji-like shimmer that flickered in 3 colors across the message window. Foolish can be fun, especially when adventure is involved. And they spent the next few minutes exchanging messages. She introduced herself as Zyra, and despite the strangeness of her appearance, Alex found her humor, curiosity, and wit irresistible. She asked him about Earth, his favorite foods, and what humans considered entertainment. Alex found himself explaining the concept of human cinema, board games, and even the thrill of hiking up mountains just to look at rocks. Zyra laughed at everything, not in a mocking way, but with genuine amusement. Then came the invitation. "I think it's time we meet," Zyra wrote. "I promise it will be a date like no other." Alex stared at the message, his mind racing. He had imagined first dates before coffee, movies, maybe a stroll through a park, but this felt different. There was a sense of excitement he hadn't felt in years. With a deep breath, he typed, "I'm ready. When and where?" She responded almost instantly. "Meet me at the Orion spaceport at sunset. Wear something comfortable. We'll need it." Alex spent the next few hours trying to imagine what she meant. Comfortable for what? Was this a joke? He had never left Earth's atmosphere, beyond the commercial shuttle ride for tourists. But curiosity gnawed at him, and he decided that nothing worth experiencing came without a little risk. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Alex arrived at the Orion spaceport. The place was bustling with interstellar travelers, cargo ships, and sleek transport vessels from nearby colonies. He scanned the crowd, heart racing, until he saw a craft that seemed to glow faintly against the twilight. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. Smooth, organic-looking curves with a translucent hull, almost as if it had grown, instead of being built. Hovering above the landing pads were smaller ships that seemed to form a protective ring. His pulse quickened. Those were warships, or, at least, they looked like them. A figure appeared at the ramp of the shuttle, graceful and confident. Zyra stepped forward, her skin glinting with shifting colors as she moved. She smiled. "Alex," she said, her voice melodic but firm. "You made it." "Yes," he said, his voice catching slightly. "I didn't expect all this." He gestured to the hovering warships. They are ceremonial, Zyra explained. They are here because of protocol, not threat. On my planet, a first meeting with a foreign species is considered important enough to warrant respect. Alex nodded, trying to hide his nervousness. Respect or threat? It was still intimidating. But something about her calm, assured demeanor made him feel safer. "Shall we go?" she asked, holding out her hand. Alex took it, and they stepped into the shuttle. Inside, the craft was even more astonishing. The walls shimmered with faint light, reacting to their presence. Seats molded themselves to their forms. The controls seemed alive, responding intuitively to Zyra's touch. As they lifted off the ground, the city below shrank rapidly. Alex leaned against the window, staring at the lights of Earth fading into the distance. Above, the orbiting warships moved with perfect precision, creating patterns that were beautiful and awe-inspiring. "Do they always follow you like that?" Alex asked, a mix of awe and concern in his voice. "They do," Zyra replied, with a hint of amusement. "It's tradition. They watch, but they rarely intervene. Humans often think it's intimidating. We think it's protective." Alex realized he had been holding his breath. He exhaled slowly, feeling a thrill unlike anything he had experienced on Earth. During the flight, Zyra explained more about herself and her world. She spoke of floating cities, of planets with skies of shifting colors, of cultures that thrived on creativity, exploration, and problem-solving. Alex listened, fascinated, sharing stories of human ingenuity, art, and resilience. Zyra laughed at some of his anecdotes, particularly the stories about humans turning the simplest tools into clever solutions. Time seemed to pass differently aboard the shuttle. Alex found himself less anxious and more curious. The fear of the unknown transformed into excitement. He was no longer just a visitor. He was an explorer, stepping into an entirely new world of possibilities. As the shuttle entered space, orbiting around a ring of planets, Alex glanced at Zyra. She smiled, noticing his wonder. "You're not scared," she said, almost teasing. "I'm a little scared," Alex admitted. "But I think it's worth it." Zyra's smile widened. "That's the spirit. Humans have a remarkable way of turning fear into action. I like that about you." For the first time in a long while, Alex felt that he wasn't just living day to day. He was part of a story bigger than himself. The kind of story that involved distant worlds, incredible beings, and perhaps even unexpected friendship or more. As the shuttle sailed past the outer colonies and toward Zyra's home planet, Alex realized that his life had changed with a single swipe. He wasn't just on a date. He was stepping into the unknown, guided by curiosity, courage, and the unmistakable spark of human ingenuity. And deep inside, he couldn't help but smile. This first date, no matter how strange, promised an adventure unlike anything he had ever imagined. The shuttle glided smoothly through space, leaving the familiar blue and green of Earth behind. Alex pressed his face against the window, unable to take his eyes off the stars and distant planets. Each one seemed alive, glowing with colors he could not name. The sensation was overwhelming, yet thrilling. He had always dreamed of seeing the universe up close, but he never imagined it would happen on a first date. Zyra sat beside him, calm and confident, her fingers lightly brushing the control panel as though it were an extension of herself. "Most humans are nervous in space," she said, watching his wide eyes. "But you seem curious, not afraid. That is unusual." Alex shrugged, trying to appear casual. "I guess curiosity is stronger than fear. And besides, I've never had a date like this before." Zyra laughed, a sound like wind chimes. "Then it is perfect. A first date should challenge expectations. Shouldn't it?" Oh. As they approached Zyra's home system, Alex noticed the warships moving in formation above the planet. From the shuttle's window, they appeared like glittering guardians, orbiting with precise rhythm. His heart raced, a mix of fear and excitement. "They are beautiful," he said, unable to hide his awe. "They are protective," Zyra replied. "And ceremonial. They honor important visitors. Humans rarely witness them, so they are cautious or frightened." Alex swallowed hard. "I can see why." The shuttle began its descent, slipping between the orbiting ships. Alex's stomach lurched slightly, a mix of nerves and exhilaration. The planet below was a swirl of colors, emerald forests, sapphire oceans, and cities that seemed to float in the air. The architecture was unlike anything on Earth, a perfect combination of organic curves and advanced technology. Lights moved like rivers along the structures, reflecting both innovation and beauty. "This is incredible," Alex whispered. "It looks alive." "It is," Zyra said softly. "My world thrives on balance. Every structure, every path, every city is built to respect life and innovation equally." The shuttle landed gently on a platform high above one of the floating cities. The doors opened automatically, revealing a city that seemed to hum with energy. Alex stepped out, his senses overwhelmed by the sights, sounds, and even scents. The air smelled fresh and faintly sweet, unlike anything he had breathed before. Aliens moved gracefully through the streets, some walking on two legs, some gliding, and others floating. Each being carried an aura of purpose and curiosity. Alex noticed that while the city was advanced, it was also welcoming. Unlike human metropolises, it did not feel crowded or chaotic. There was a rhythm here, a harmony between technology and life. Zyra led him through the streets, pointing out landmarks and explaining their significance. "That is the Hall of Knowledge," she said, gesturing to a massive building that shimmered with light. "It stores the collective wisdom of our civilization. And over there," she pointed to a floating garden, "is where we cultivate ideas literally and figuratively. Creativity grows here, as plants do." Alex laughed. "Humans could learn something from that. We tend to build first and think later." "You have your strengths," Zyra said with a smile. "Humans are resilient, adaptable, and curious. You can turn the smallest resources into great solutions. That is why your species survives." As they walked, Alex noticed a small problem near one of the docking ports. A transport platform had malfunctioned, leaving several ships stranded. Aliens were trying to repair it, but their tools seemed incompatible with the system. Alex stepped closer, examining the machinery. "Maybe I can help," he said. Zyra raised an eyebrow. Alex smiled faintly. "Humans are good at improvising. Sometimes, you can fix things with logic, not fancy tools." He knelt beside the machinery, examining it carefully. Using a combination of reasoning, intuition, and a few spare components he found nearby, he adjusted the platform. Slowly, it began to function again. The stranded ships powered up and lifted off safely. The surrounding aliens paused, watching him with surprise and admiration. Zyra's eyes gleamed with pride. "Humans really are remarkable," she said. "You think fast, adapt, and act. That is why your kind survives where others might fail." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. Praise from an alien, from someone so extraordinary, was unexpected but not unwelcome. "I just try to solve problems," he said modestly. They continued through the city, and Zyra invited him to her favorite restaurant. It floated in midair, tethered to the city by subtle energy fields. Inside, the environment was serene. Tables hovered gently, and dishes appeared to shimmer with life, as if infused with the planet's energy. The menu included flavors Alex had never imagined: sweet, spicy, tangy, and something else he could not describe but surprisingly delicious. Zyra encouraged him to try a local delicacy, Hesitant at first, Alex took a bite. His eyes widened. This is amazing. It is best shared with someone who appreciates new experiences, Zyra said, watching him savor the food. They talked about their lives, their worlds, and their dreams. Alex found himself opening up in ways he hadn't with another human. He shared stories of Earth's struggles and triumphs, of how humans built, explored, and survived against the odds. Zyra listened intently, clearly fascinated. You humans have courage, she said softly, and determination. You see problems as challenges, not obstacles. That is rare in the universe. Alex laughed. I never thought of it that way. We just try not to give up. Exactly, Zyra said with a smile. And that is why you are interesting. Not because of strength or technology, but because of your heart and mind. As the evening progressed, they moved to a balcony overlooking the city. Lights shimmered below like stars brought down to the ground. Above, the orbiting warships glided in formation, reflecting the planet's glow. Alex felt small, yet powerful, small in comparison to the universe, but powerful because he was here, experiencing something extraordinary. Zyra looked at him, her eyes reflecting the lights of the city and the stars above. Do you understand why humans fascinate me? She asked. Alex nodded slowly. You mean because we keep going? Even when things seem impossible? She smiled. Yes. That. And because you can make a difference, even with limited tools. You are unpredictable in ways that inspire. Alex felt a mixture of pride and humility. He realized that despite all the technology, the stars, and the aliens around him, his human traits, curiosity, courage, and adaptability were what mattered most. For the first time in his life, he truly felt part of something bigger than himself. A first date had brought him not only into another world, but also into a realization. Humans had something unique, something remarkable. And in that moment, orbiting warships, floating cities, and alien cuisine didn't seem so intimidating. They seemed like a stage for human ingenuity, courage, and heart. The shuttle had brought him far from Earth, but it was his own humanity that allowed him to navigate this strange new world. And as he looked at Zyra, he felt the excitement of more adventures to come. Ones where humans and aliens could learn from each other, grow together, and face the universe side by side. The morning sunlight on Zyra's planet was unlike anything Alex had ever seen. It wasn't just white or yellow, it shimmered with soft hues of green and blue, bathing the floating city in a gentle glow. Birds or creatures that resembled birds but were far larger and more colorful glided through the air, singing melodies that reminded Alex of Earth's forests but somehow more complex. Every step he took on the smooth, glowing walkways felt like walking on energy itself, a hum beneath his feet that seemed alive. Zyra greeted him with a bright smile. Good morning, Alex. Ready for the day? He rubbed his eyes, still adjusting to the beauty surrounding him. I think so. I haven't slept much, but I don't think I could have slept with all this outside. It's incredible. Zyra laughed softly. Sleep is important, but experiencing the world is better, at least for the first morning. Today, I want to show you how we live, how we think, and how humans might surprise even advanced civilizations. Alex felt a rush of pride. Humans? Surprising even advanced alien civilizations? It was the first time he had thought of his species that way. They started with a tour of the city's knowledge halls. Buildings stretched into the sky, their translucent walls pulsing gently as if the structures themselves were breathing. Inside, holographic displays floated in the air, showing history, science, art, and stories from across the planet. Alex walked slowly, amazed by how smoothly technology and information blended. This is incredible, he said, pointing at a display of interstellar travel routes. It's like a library and a city combined. Exactly, Zyra said. We believe knowledge must be accessible and alive. It is not enough to store information. We must interact with it, learn from it, and adapt it to new problems. Alex nodded, understanding. Humans did something similar, in their own way. Libraries, universities, even workshops, all places where people experimented and learned. But here, the scale was immense, and the integration with life itself was breathtaking. As they walked, a small problem arose. One of the knowledge hall platforms malfunctioned, leaving a section of data inaccessible. Aliens nearby attempted repairs, but their tools seemed incompatible with the system's energy flow. Alex stepped closer. "Maybe I can help," he said, feeling that familiar spark of confidence. Zyra raised an eyebrow. "You? Are you sure?" "I'm human," he replied with a small smile. "We like solving problems. Sometimes we have to be creative." He examined the system and noticed a sequence of energy nodes that could be rerouted. Using a combination of logic and improvisation, he adjusted the flow, connecting the nodes with a small device Zyra handed him. Slowly, the system stabilized. The data became accessible, and the surrounding aliens paused, watching him with a mixture of curiosity and admiration. "You humans really are remarkable," Zyra said quietly, almost to herself. "You can make sense of things that baffle others." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. Praise from someone like Zyra, from an advanced civilization, was more meaningful than he could have imagined. "I just try to think," he said modestly, "and act when needed." After the knowledge hall, Zyra led him to a floating garden that overlooked the entire city. Plants of all colors and shapes floated midair, growing not in soil, but in glowing energy fields. The garden was alive, humming gently, as if it could feel their presence. "This is where we cultivate ideas," Zyra explained. "Every plant represents a concept or a project. We nurture them, watch them grow, and learn from their development. Creativity is as important as technology." Alex crouched to look at a small cluster of plants that glimmered like crystals. "So, even your ideas grow like living things?" "Yes," Zyra said. "And sometimes, they need a fresh perspective. That is where someone like you comes in. Humans see solutions differently. You are unpredictable, in a good way." He smiled. "I hope my perspective is useful." As they wandered through the garden, Alex asked questions about her people, their culture, and their way of life. Zyra answered patiently, explaining the balance her civilization maintained between nature, technology, and thought. Every challenge they faced was approached creatively, collaboratively, and with respect for life itself. Alex shared stories of Earth's history, of human inventions, mistakes, and triumphs. He told her about humans building tools with limited resources, creating art that inspired, and solving problems in ways that required imagination rather than raw power. Zyra listened intently, her eyes sparkling with interest. "You humans are fascinating," she said. "Even with limited technology, your species finds ways to thrive. You adapt, learn, and create. That is why you are respected in the galaxy, even by those who are far older and wiser." Alex felt a sense of pride. For the first time, he saw humanity not as ordinary, but as extraordinary. Our strength wasn't in speed, size, or even technology. It was in intelligence, creativity, and the ability to act when it mattered most. Later, Zyra invited him to a demonstration of interstellar navigation. She showed him how her people mapped the stars and created routes for safe travel. Alex noticed a small problem with one of the simulations, a path that could fail under certain conditions. Without thinking, he suggested an adjustment, using logic and reasoning based on human methods of navigation. Zyra tested it, and it worked perfectly. She looked at him with admiration. "You truly have a gift, Alex. Humans think differently, and that is why you can solve problems others cannot. The day ended with a quiet moment on a balcony overlooking the city. The sun was setting, painting the sky with swirling colors that defied description. The orbiting warships glimmered like stars, their movements precise and graceful. Alex realized how much he had learned, not just about Zyra's civilization, but about himself and humanity. Humans were small in the vast universe, yet they had qualities that made them remarkable. Creativity, courage, curiosity, and resilience. Zyra looked at him, her expression soft. You have shown me why humans are important. Not because of your technology, but because of your mind, your heart, and your willingness to face the unknown. Alex felt a warmth in his chest. I've never thought of humans that way. But I like it. For the first time, he felt that humans were not just survivors, they were explorers, problem solvers, and creators in a universe full of possibilities. And as he looked at Zyra, he understood that this first encounter was more than a date. It was a bridge between worlds, a meeting of minds, and a recognition of what humanity could accomplish when it dared to step beyond the familiar. As night fell, the city below glowed softly, and the warships continued their orbit. Alex felt a sense of calm and excitement. He was no longer just a visitor. He was part of something bigger, something that could change the way humans were seen across the stars. And in that moment, he knew that humanity's greatest adventure had only just begun. The next morning began with the soft glow of Zyra's planet casting long, colorful shadows across the floating city. Alex had slept better than he had in months, despite the strange bed that seemed to float and adjust to his form. He stretched, looking out the window at the orbiting warships, now bathed in the morning light. They moved with precision and grace, a reminder that this world was far more advanced than anything on Earth. Zyra appeared at the window beside him, her shimmering skin reflecting the sunrise. "Good morning, Alex," she said. "I hope you are ready for today. It may be unusual." Alex grinned, feeling more confident than ever. "I've learned to expect unusual. I think I can handle it." They set out across the city, Zyra explaining more about her people's daily life, how they worked together to solve problems, and how they valued creativity alongside discipline. Alex listened carefully, soaking in every detail, and occasionally pointing out how humans had solved similar problems with simple but clever solutions. Zyra seemed genuinely impressed by his observations. Suddenly, an alert flashed across the city's public displays. Red symbols pulsed as a voice echoed throughout the floating platforms. Warning. Rogue fleet detected approaching planetary orbit. All defensive units prepare for engagement. Alex froze, staring at Zyra. Rogue fleet? Yes, she said, her calm demeanor unwavering. A fleet from a distant system. They have been scouting for weaknesses. We do not expect them to attack immediately, but precautions are necessary. Alex's mind raced. He had never been in a war situation, yet his instinct to act kicked in. He could see that the aliens were prepared, but their strategies seemed rigid, relying heavily on technology and protocol. Alex knew humans often approached threats differently, creatively, unpredictably. "Zyra," he said, pointing toward the floating warships above the city. "What if we use a decoy strategy? Something that the enemy wouldn't expect?" Zyra's eyes widened slightly. "A decoy strategy? Explain." Alex quickly outlined his idea. The orbiting warships could project holographic duplicates of themselves in multiple positions. Meanwhile, a smaller fleet could approach the rogue fleet from an unexpected angle, causing confusion and forcing them to reveal their weaknesses. It relied on human improvisation, quick thinking, and a willingness to take risks. Zyra studied him, then nodded. "It is unconventional. But humans have surprised us before." "Very well. We will attempt your method." Alex felt a surge of adrenaline. He had never commanded a fleet or dealt with alien warships before, but he focused on logic, probability, and timing. Working with Zyra and her team, he helped coordinate the holographic projections and the fleet movements. His suggestions were simple, yet effective, using principles humans applied in naval warfare on Earth, adapted for interstellar distances. The rogue fleet appeared on the city's sensors, a dark cluster of ships moving with intent. At first, the alien commanders followed their standard protocols, deploying interceptors and shields. But Alex's decoys confused them. Multiple holographic warships appeared in unexpected positions, while the smaller fleet moved silently from another direction. The rogue fleet hesitated, scanning for threats that were not real. "Now!" Alex shouted. The command triggered the smaller fleet to maneuver, revealing the rogue ship's weak points. The alien fleet responded quickly, attacking with precision guided by Alex's strategy. Within moments, the rogue fleet was forced to retreat, unable to adapt to the combination of technology and human unpredictability. Zyra looked at Alex with amazement. "You saved many lives today. Your mind is remarkable. Humans truly are unpredictable in ways that inspire." Alex felt a mixture of relief and pride. "I just thought about what I would do if I were in their shoes. Sometimes, it helps to imagine the problem from another angle." The city's inhabitants began to emerge from their shelters, cheering quietly as they realized the threat had been neutralized without major conflict. The warships returned to their normal orbits, their movements elegant and precise once again. Alex felt the hum of energy beneath him, a rhythm that now seemed familiar, almost comforting. Zyra led him to a quiet balcony overlooking the city. The floating platforms glowed softly, reflecting the aftermath of the encounter. "You have shown me why humans are valuable," she said. "Not because of strength or weapons, but because of thought, courage, and creativity. You see solutions where others see only obstacles." Alex looked at her, feeling a sense of accomplishment he had never known. Humans had survived, explored, and thrived, not by having the strongest technology, but by using their minds, hearts, and courage. He realized that in this moment, he represented more than himself. He represented humanity's ingenuity and spirit. As they sat quietly, the sky above them filled with stars. The orbiting warships glimmered like sentinels, their presence now reassuring rather than intimidating. Alex reflected on everything he had seen and done. The date that began as a simple adventure had turned into a lesson about the universe, about aliens, and about the power of human intelligence. Zyra turned to him, her eyes reflecting both pride and admiration. "You have a remarkable quality, Alex. You adapt quickly, act decisively, and think creatively. These are rare skills even among the most advanced civilizations. Humans may not have been the first in the galaxy, but you have a spark that cannot be ignored." Alex smiled, feeling a deep connection not only to Zyra but to his own species. "I think humans just keep trying. We may not be perfect, but we don't give up. Maybe that's our greatest strength." Zyra reached out, gently placing her hand on his. "It is. That is why you inspire me. That is why humans are respected, even in places far beyond Earth." They watched the city together, the soft hum of energy around them, and Alex felt a sense of belonging, unlike anything he had experienced. He was a human in an alien world, yet he had proven that human qualities, creativity, courage, and adaptability could make a difference even on a planet that seemed light years ahead of Earth. For the first time, he realized that the universe was not just a place of danger or mystery. It was a place where humans could shine, where ingenuity could overcome challenges, and where courage could create hope. The day ended with a sense of calm and triumph. Alex had not only survived an encounter with a rogue fleet, but he had also earned the respect of Zyra and her people. Humans were more than capable of standing alongside advanced civilizations, not with brute force, but with intelligence, creativity, and determination. As night fell, the city glowed softly beneath them, and the orbiting warships continued their watch. Alex felt a sense of pride and excitement. He had faced the unknown, and had succeeded not alone, but with human ingenuity guiding his actions. And as Zyra smiled at him, Alex knew that this first date had become far more than a simple meeting. It had become a moment where humanity's best qualities had been revealed, not through technology or weapons, but through thought, courage, and the willingness to act when it mattered most. The following morning dawned with a quiet beauty that contrasted sharply with the tension of the previous day. The rogue fleet had retreated, and the orbiting warships moved smoothly in their ceremonial patterns above the floating city. Alex woke early, feeling a mix of relief, pride, and excitement. He had survived an alien first date, faced interstellar danger, and contributed to a solution that saved countless lives. Yet, it was not the adrenaline or the danger that thrilled him most. It was the recognition that human ingenuity mattered, even in a universe filled with civilizations far older and wiser than Earth. Zyra greeted him at the balcony overlooking the city. Her skin shimmered softly in the morning light, casting tiny reflections on the walls around them. "Good morning, Alex," she said, her voice gentle. "I hope you slept well. Today, we can explore without worry. The fleet is safe, and the city resumes its normal rhythm." Alex smiled. "I slept better than I thought I would. I guess humans can adjust to anything if we have to." She laughed softly, the sound mingling with the faint hum of energy that flowed beneath the city. "Yes, humans adapt quickly. That is why you are remarkable. That is why I wanted you here." They spent the morning walking through the city once more, this time without urgency or tension. The streets were alive with activity, aliens of all shapes and sizes, moving gracefully, some floating, some gliding, others walking on legs similar to humans. Everywhere Alex looked, he saw patterns of harmony, technology and nature coexisting, innovation and art blending seamlessly, and beings interacting with respect and intelligence. Zyra led him to a floating platform that overlooked the planet's oceans. The water glimmered with a strange, bioluminescent glow, and the sky reflected colors he could not name. "This is one of the oldest parts of the planet," she explained. "We preserve it as a reminder of our beginnings, our growth, and our balance with the universe." Alex took a deep breath, feeling a sense of calm. "It's beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. Humans try to preserve nature, but it's different here. Everything feels alive." "Exactly," Zyra said. "We believe that life, energy, and knowledge are connected. To thrive, we must respect all three. And sometimes, it takes a human perspective to see what we might overlook." Alex felt a surge of pride. He had already contributed something meaningful during his stay, and it was clear that Zyra and her people valued his presence not for what he could carry or what technology he brought, but for how he thought, acted, and adapted. Humans were small, yes, but the spark within them could make a difference. After a while, Zyra suggested they try something she called idea sharing. They sat on a floating bench that hovered gently above the city. Around them, small orbs of light drifted lazily, each containing a concept or project from her civilization. Zyra explained how her people nurtured ideas as if they were living beings, observing them, guiding them, and learning from them. Alex was fascinated. "So, you grow your projects like plants?" "Yes," Zyra said. "And sometimes, a fresh perspective is needed. Humans see possibilities in ways we do not. That is why I wanted you here. Your ideas have value." He nodded thoughtfully. "On Earth, we solve problems with what we have, not what we wish we had. Sometimes that leads to mistakes, but sometimes it leads to something better than anyone expected." Zyra's eyes glimmered. "Exactly. That is why humans survive. That is why you are admired across the stars. Creativity, courage, adaptability, these are your strengths. They spent hours sharing stories, comparing methods, and brainstorming solutions to challenges that neither species had encountered before. Alex realized that even without alien technology, humans brought something unique: intuition, imagination, and the willingness to act when others hesitated. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues that seemed impossible, Zyra led Alex to a high balcony overlooking the city. The orbiting warships glimmered like stars in formation, reflecting the planet's glow. "Do you see them?" she asked. "They have watched over us for centuries, guiding and protecting. But today, they also watched you, and they recognized something in you. A quality humans have, that even advanced civilizations cannot ignore." Alex looked at the warships, feeling a mix of awe and humility. "I don't know if I'm that special," he said softly. "I just did what I thought was right." Zyra placed a hand on his. "That is what makes humans extraordinary. You do not seek glory, yet you act. You do not always follow rules, yet you find solutions. You take what you have: your mind, your courage, your heart, and you change outcomes. That is rare in the universe." Alex felt a warmth spread through him. He realized that the date, which began with curiosity and excitement, had become a lesson in humanity itself. Humans were more than just a species. They were adaptable, intelligent, and capable of remarkable achievements when faced with the unknown. For the first time, he saw himself as a representative of his species, not just as an individual. And it was exhilarating. Zyra smiled at him, her expression softening. "I hope you understand why I wanted you here. Not as a guest, but as a partner in thought. You have reminded us that human ingenuity is something to admire, something that can inspire even the most advanced civilizations." Alex returned her smile. "I think I understand. Humans can be small in the universe, but we're clever, brave, and curious. We don't give up. That's our real power." Zyra nodded, her eyes shining. "Exactly. And now, you know it too." They watched the city below, the soft glow of the platforms reflecting off the oceans and the sky. The warships continued their silent patrol, elegant and precise. But now Alex saw them as symbols of cooperation rather than intimidation. Humans and aliens could coexist, learn from each other, and face the universe together. Alex felt a sense of peace and excitement. The first date had turned into an adventure, a lesson, and a moment of connection across worlds. He had faced danger, contributed to solutions, and discovered something deeper about himself and his species. Humans could make a difference, even in the vastness of space, because of qualities that went beyond technology or power: courage, creativity, and heart. Zyra squeezed his hand gently. "Do you want to see more of the planet before you return to Earth?" Alex nodded eagerly. "Absolutely. There's so much to learn, so much to see. I want to understand it all." And so they spent the rest of the day exploring, talking, and learning from each other. They discovered floating markets filled with colors and smells Alex had never imagined, libraries that glowed with knowledge, and gardens where ideas literally blossomed. Everywhere he looked, he saw examples of alien ingenuity, and everywhere he acted, he saw the impact of human creativity. As night fell, Alex looked at Zyra, feeling a connection that went beyond species, beyond planets, beyond words. This first date had been extraordinary. Yes, but it had also been a reminder that humanity's greatest adventures were still ahead. The universe was vast, mysterious, and filled with possibilities, and humans had the power to shine in it, not because of technology, but because of who they were. He smiled, knowing that this was only the beginning. And as Zyra smiled back, the orbiting warships glimmered like silent witnesses to the start of something remarkable. a bond between worlds, built on respect, curiosity, and the extraordinary nature of humanity. Alex realized that wherever humans went, whatever challenges they faced, they would leave a mark because human ingenuity, courage, and heart could never be stopped. And in that moment, he felt proud to be one of them.